Without further ado, we're going to start off our night by talking about Qerb, one of the few Game & Watch mains in the world, and someone who's always been, like, right on the cusp. He never made that, like, final push to get on there. Off the top, 42nd win, Vortex win. These are all, like, really good wins. The 42nd one's probably the best of these. Vortex is technically a top 100 win, but I think it's more akin to like the Swooper, Yasuo, Bang kind of wins. And losing the 2 Saint Calva are really, really good. Or right around his level or a little bit lower. Like you got people like Panos. Where is Panos in? He's 8th in Jersey, plays Falcon. Yeah, like people like Panos and Ryobeat and Mog. He's got a lot of these wins on this area right around the edge. And those are good players to be beating to give you a good idea of like where he falls. But for making a bid for the top 100, it's hard for it to have that like push you over the edge. So Qerb's just a really weird kind of resume. Because everything in my heart of hearts wants me to be like, oh yeah, Qerb's gonna make it. And I think that the biggest thing, like I kept alluding to here, is that this win, how valuable Ryan Ford win, which is hard to gauge on. Let's see who's Ryan Ford beaten this year. Why does he have his wins over his 2017 people here? Okay, so I don't have a reasonable thing. He's been very, very inactive, losing to Billy. Oh yeah, so not. Oh yeah, no, looks like he's got a decent amount of actual tournaments in here, so he's probably going to be rank. The losses that we're able to see and the potential wins he has in here, like if I would spitball like just off of that, and again it's really hard to rank people just based off this information, so we only have like those 2 tournaments and what we briefly just saw there. Maybe Ryan's like 50 to 70, so it's not as valuable. Like it's not a 31st, it's not the win over the 31st, because you kind of have to base it on like where he about falls for the year. It's a weird sort of like snake eating its own tail kind of thing, that you start running around in circles ranking someone based on their other ranking. But it's important to see how valuable it is, because we do know Ryan Ford's a great player. He was 31st in the ranking last year, but he hasn't been to a lot, so he's not that same player. He's not the 31st player anymore, so we gotta kind of base off of that. Because if he was still playing at his caliber, well, one, he might have not lost to Qerb, but this win would be like an easy ticket in here. Let's go over to Swooper. Swooper has the Bananas, the Kells win. Bananas is probably like the big one there. Ralph win, Qerb win, high five. Like he's got these wins with players around his level. Say like Calvar, Yasuo, Hostile Gato, Panos, Mog. Like players we're also seeing Qerb beat as well, like Panos, Mog. But he doesn't have that big win. Like that's what he's really missing. And a lot of times at this level, at this like deep in the bracket, it can come down to that. You say wins, I'm gonna highlight all the wins of people who are like contenders for the top 100, like off the top of my head. But like he's pretty consistently like that's not a bad tournament. Ryzen, maybe like a bad loss. Bobby's in this contention, so it's not too bad. Rick, maybe a bad loss. See, this is why I think Qerb, like this resume is so perplexing to me, because it's a lot of these players that are also unknown entities that we really don't know about. Like all these guys that I've highlighted, and I think that's the color green. A lot of these unknown entities that we don't know how valuable a win against them is, and he doesn't have those big, as I always like to say, like hallmark wins besides Ryan Ford in 42nd. But Ryan Ford, the one that should be carrying him, like Super has this Bananas win or his Kells win to be helping him up there. Qerb doesn't have that solid, even though I guess an Icy's win, Bananas is not the best example of a solid win, like a flagship win that carries someone's resume. It's going to be very scary for Qerb making the top 100, but I think he might just barely sneak on. I could see Qerb like being like that 90 to 110, and Swooper having more bad losses. I don't see these losses being like dramatically worse. I'd say their losses are about the same. I'd say Swooper is going to be ranked higher than Qerb. So the things that I think Qerb has going for him, besides the obvious wins we have listed out here, is that these players that I have highlighted in green are, if he's not beating them out on the rankings, and they'll probably be ranked right above him, and it'll be, whether consciously or not consciously, fresh in the bouter's mind when they're putting these people in this list, and you're being like, oh, so I just ranked Ryobeat and Mog, and this guy has wins over Ryobeat and Mog. That's pretty dope. And like he doesn't have too bad losses. I think it's going to depend a lot. Again, like I was saying, he's probably played a lot of these guys a lot because they're kind of in the same area: New Jersey, Tri-State, MDVA, New England. So when we see like the full records too, I think that'll give us a better idea of where he kind of falls within this group of people. But yeah. I think that about does it for Qerb. My final prediction analysis for him is like he's probably gonna fall into the 90 to 110 range. I think, like people are saying in the chat, there's a very realistic possibility we see Qerb at like 99 or 101. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world we see him at 101, like taking the free Palestine spot from last year. Yeah. So that does it for Qerb.